Tree Chucklers podcast. This is episode 20. Episode 20, that's 20. That means we've done this at least 19 times, which means we should be better than what we were at the beginning.
Oh, definitely.
I should hope so.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, this guy.
It's my first time. It's my first time on here, but I would hope that I feel a little bit better at this.
Right.
Today we have our good friend Brian. Brian? Yeah. I know, right? But I'm not even used to it yet.
I'm not used to
The
it.
video aspect might not be professional yet.
Yeah.
Not 20 episodes in, but
Oh, yeah. This is like episode 3 that we've had video.
yeah, exactly. So we're still getting used to that. But Brian's
You
here.
guys didn't
And...
have video before this? It was just like...
No, yeah, it was just audio.
Oh,
I mean, that's
wow.
what podcasts usually are.
Yeah. And you guys decided to throw in some video?
Yeah, I mean, because we put it on YouTube. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes it easy. Cool.
But Brian, tell us a little bit about yourself. The Tree Chucklers are interested in you.
Well, my name is Brian. I just finished my last semester at community college, as you know. And this fall, I'm going to be attending Northern Illinois, going for my finance degree.
Nice.
Nice.
And, come out with becoming a financial planner. Take that CFP test and,
Roll with it.
Roll with it, yeah. So
Nice.
pretty much my life right now just consists of going to work and going to school. I just got a new job as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, just working, just going to school, and whenever I have time, just see friends and,
You know what? Paul might not know this, but I've known Brian since 3rd grade. So I've seen him do a lot in his lifetime. But I think the one thing that I've really noticed about you is your work ethic. Mm-hmm. Where did you establish that work ethic? Where did that begin?
Honestly, that began at a very young age. For the longest time, it was just my siblings and my mom and I, and so I feel like that kind of forced me to grow up and take that leader role and just educate my siblings and kind of become their father figure without a father there, and just help them grow as people, help them with advice. So I feel like I really had to step and fill those shoes in at a very young age, and just made me just become the person work ethic wise. And
What were some of the first jobs that you had?
well, honestly, the first jobs I ever had, my uncle has a company, and he does landscaping. He started with just him, one mower, and then just another guy, and then now he's got people working for him and stuff like that. So I would just do that in 7th grade, 6th grade, 8th grade, or whatever, and go with him. And that was always brutal because I wasn't used to waking up at 6 a.m. to go work in 7th grade. But I was like, you know what? I want to work, get some money, get $20 or whatever. And that's where I first started working. But my actual first job, I didn't get till I was 16, and that was at the private country club in Geneva. And I held that job down for 5 years. So I recently just moved away from that job just to take a better job. And yeah, I've only really had one actual job, and the one I just started. So
Damn.
yeah,
Not
I
bad.
guess you could say I'm a pretty loyal worker. Just
Yeah.
I stayed there for so long.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked at a place for 4 years, and are there any days where you just during those 5 long years that you had, were there any days where you thought, you know what, this isn't really worth it anymore, or how did you overcome certain moments like that?
At work?
Yeah.
Well, our country club has always, ever since I started, was always a little bit unstable as far as management wise. We would have, in the 5 years I've worked there, I've worked under 5 different managers.
Wow.
And, that says something there. And
Yeah.
so obviously that was always hard because every manager that would come in would change things up. So that was always just a struggle to have to readjust to the way the manager wants things done, his standards and stuff like that. And obviously you get a manager here and there who's like, I don't really know about this guy. So honestly, that was probably the biggest struggle.
Yeah.
But besides that, I liked going to work. I met a bunch of people, made friends there, a lot of connections, a lot of networking. So the job was great. It was just getting used to all the changes that would happen every single year. No one really likes to change every single year.
Yeah, I mean that's something that you don't really think about. It's a lot of these companies, at least when you're younger, you tend to look at a company and think, oh, okay, they're established, so everything must be working well. But then you start to work at these places, and you're like,
Yeah.
what the hell is going on? How are they even functioning?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right before I started there, they had a manager that was there for forever.
Really?
He was there 10 years or whatever. And that company was just sold out and bought out by a different company. And this company that we're with is just kind of, they're struggling, I think. So, but yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
No, seriously. I mean, there's so many things that can push you to just stop doing something, or push you to stop working, or push you to stop, I guess just being a being a productive, I guess, member of society. Yeah. And when you're dealing with, when you're just trying to work, and someone who should know something more than you do about the company that you're working for is not functioning properly, that gets frustrating.
Yeah.
Right? And it not only like ruins your productivity, but it obviously ruins the potential success for the company, and then that could put your spot in serious jeopardy. And the thing is, like, you hear a lot of stories about how certain managers, like, they're horrible people and they like lie and do a bunch of crazy shit to get their whatever workers, screwed up. Somebody who told me this. Somebody had told me about how they were working at this one place, and the person who worked there at the time, I don't remember who told me this. The worker was a good worker, did everything just fine, and apparently the manager didn't like her. I think it was a girl. And the manager, like, one day, like, fired her one day, right? And so she left. Obviously the worker left, the girl left, and the manager had told her, the upper person, whoever was above, I think it was a dude, whoever was above him, that she had actually quit. And I don't exactly remember what happened, but somehow the worker found out about that and talked to the person, up above. And obviously the manager lost his job for lying, and then she got promoted. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Manager would say that you quit and stuff like that just because also a lot of companies don't want to have to pay, your unemployment and stuff like that, especially if you file for it. If you got fired, then you're going to get some compensations. But, you say, oh, she just quit, she just left because she wanted to, and then that'll save the company some money.
But I mean, is it worth it to lie about it?
In my perspective, I don't think so. But you obviously get managers out there whose their ego is just so big, and they really only care about themselves. And that I just wish maybe companies look more into the managers, the people they would hire. Because there's a lot of managers out there that come into the company and just be like, I'm all about me, and I don't really care who I hurt or who I affect.
You need a team player.
Yeah, of course.
You need a team player. I mean, that's if you have 20 something employees, or even just like 5 or more, if you don't have a team, it's just not working. Right away, you're gonna have this friction. You're gonna have this inability to congeal and actually work on whatever product you're working on and make it successful. Yeah, it's not cool, man. Paul, do you know anything about that?
I mean,
you've run a couple of clubs.
I mean, right? Yeah. So like I've run a couple clubs. So like but I feel like clubs are a different leadership, like dynamic.
Oh yeah, especially because it's college.
Yeah, because like your relationship between your employees, right, like the club members, and like the executive team is different because most of the time it's promoted like from within ranks, right? If that makes sense, because it's like. So, like, the leadership knows what it's like to be at the bottom, so to say. And so there's a lot more empathy, Like, contrast that with, like, a company where, like, you could have people who are hired on right away as supervisors. Like, they don't know the company culture.
That's happened. That's happened to me.
So, like, on paper, they're good at managing people, but they don't know the actual dynamic of, like, oh, this group of people works really well together.
Yeah.
Or
this is how the company functions well.
Yeah. Like it could even be some simple things like oh, it's a lot easier if I assign things on Tuesday because I know that a lot of people finish up projects from the weekend on Monday, right? Like someone who hasn't come to the company or hasn't like been promoted up from the company wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, with clubs it is different like that. But having run a studio where it's like the relationship is different than a club, like definitely it's the people who you have to put in charge, they may not necessarily be promoted, and like you just got people that like the power gets to them. So it's like sometimes it dicks.
What's that transition? I mean, like So I guess to contrast two different things that we're talking about, you're talking about a professional job where obviously whatever you do gets paid, and you're talking about positions where it's mostly just like you have a desire to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Like you have not what's the word I'm looking for?
Like a passion.
A passion, yeah. You have a passion for whatever you're doing. What is that? I guess what I'm trying to say is what makes someone in your specific area function well, and like actually lead or at least create something better for whatever you're trying to do, and then the same for you, I guess. So I don't know, let's go first.
I think in a professional environment where you're being paid to do something, I mean, like if you're using that thing, like that job as your livelihood, obviously you should be like somewhat passionate about it. At the very least, like you want to do it to the like an adequate enough quality where like you're not gonna get fired.
But that's the thing, is you see a lot of people
you see a lot of people that like will get hired, and then they maybe start out that first year and they're like, yeah, this is a great job, I love being here and stuff like that. But then they start to get comfortable, and the more comfortable they get, then the more they stop working, or the less they show up to work.
The less they focus on the details.
Yeah, and like from experience, like we had a manager like that. He came in, he loved what he did, and he was working fine for the first year and stuff like that. But then he started to get comfortable, and that like last 6 months that he was there, he was like not showing up to work, or he was just like just blowing things off, and just because he felt like his spot was secured with the company, especially because the way that he came in was because he knew like some of our regional managers or some of the higher up people. He was like, oh, I'm comfortable, like these are my friends, nothing's gonna happen. And I just think, like I said, people just get comfortable and they get lazy, and they just don't think they have to do as much to like keep just keep working. Heading.
Definitely. I think the biggest comparison, or kind of biggest relation you can draw between the professional and the kind of voluntary, I'm going to call it, like group dynamic, is going to be the people that do the job just for the paycheck, basically just show up 9 to 5, get out just to have some money. Those are the most similar people to the people that join clubs just to get that line on their resume, or just
it's that experience, and they like it, they enjoy it, so they want to be there. And
there are some people who want to join the club for the experience and like for personal growth, but like I know a lot of professional organizations in colleges where you'll join, right, just to have that line, like or just that then like if an employer asks like, oh, are you part of this club, it's like you can say yes, and that's it.
From your perspective, sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say, from your perspectives, what are some like tactics that you use to get people off that standard level, whether it's just doing it just to work and it's very like just minimally adequate work, or just someone who just joins just to have a name or have them have that name.
So usually, I mean, the biggest club that I'm part of, you actually have to apply to be in it. So we can just cut out all the people that we can tell that they're just going to do it for the just to say that they've done it, right? So that eliminates a big chunk of people. But we found that if you hold people accountable for something, that's like kind of very tangible, right? If you hold people accountable for something very tangible, they'll tend to work a lot. Like they'll be more enthusiastic about it. If you just give them a very general goal, like, oh, we need you to finish doing this by some time, people get like really complacent, and because it's basically like, oh, I could probably finish that like wherever, no one's holding me accountable, they can't tell if I'm done with it or not. But if you give them very attainable goals, you can ask them about it, right? It's like, have you done this? And if they say no, then there's your immediate answer. Are they passionate about what you want them to do?
Yeah, right.
So just making it very attainable. That's like one of the biggest things you can do in an organization to kind of to fake enthusiasm until it actually like grows naturally.
Yeah. I'd say it's like the same way for a job. You have to like keep goals in mind, like quotas you want to meet and stuff like that. But at the same time, it is a job. I feel like a lot of people don't really like to go to work, or especially at our age, people are going to work to make some money, pay for college or whatever. They don't want to like actually be there. So in a professional setting, I feel like it's very hard to just change a person's perspective. I'm like, no, like this is a great job, even though it might be. Like we went to K1 recently, and we were racing, and we were like, oh my god, it would be so cool to work here. But those guys are probably were working since like 7 a.m. They probably pulled a double, and they're like, I just want to go home. So I mean, you just got to keep goals in mind. You gotta, like for me, I know one of my goals was when I started working was I want to buy a car at 16. So I achieved that, and then just keep not just like work goals, like, oh, I got to meet this quota or this quota, but also have goals outside of work, like I want to buy a car, or I want to have money for this, and just keep reminding yourself of like why you're working, why you want that paycheck, and I think in the long run you'll see that.
How do you instill that in other people?
Like the mindset to set goals,
or the mindset to have some, or instill something in someone so that they're not just mindlessly doing work. Or at least not mindless, but like I said, just doing the standard stuff. What's something you can do or say?
For me,
that's pretty hard. It's not easy.
I mean, I've done a lot of training, and I know my mindset towards work and stuff like that. And I've done a lot of training of people coming in out of work, and I don't just try and show them like this is what you have to do for work, like just step by step by step. I'll show them like extra things, like like fun things too, like. For instance, for breaks or lunch, whatever, the Chipotle is right across the street. So I'm like, come on, like, let's go get lunch and we'll ride the golf carts over, and just show them that it's not just all work. Like, you can take your break and drive over to Chipotle, and you meet a lot of interesting people at Clubhouse. So just making sure to push them to like talk to people, because then you'll hear great stories and funny stories, obviously, and not just be like, oh, you're here for training, let's just train. Like, no, like
kind of showing them the externalities of the job, and obviously some positives.
Like, basically, you should give them an incentive, or like a positive incentive to come into work.
Besides just the money.
Yeah, like if all of your coworkers are awesome, like it can make, like however long your shift is, like way more enjoyable. If you don't talk to, or if none of your coworkers talk to anyone, and it like everyone's just like in their own space doing whatever. It's like, a 9 to 5 can last. It can seem like it lasts forever.
Yeah, you really want to make relationships and connections, and talk to people, because it is very hard to go to work and no one really talks to you, or you feel like you're on the outside, and so.
I gotcha. I mean, the reason why I just bring up the question is because, even if you've experienced a pay raise, like you get that initial like, oh. I like working, I want to go to work, but then obviously it just fades, because money is not really, for a lot of people, just money is not a motivator. Just getting money is not enough to be like, I guess I need to go to work. It's as in like they go, but it's just like, okay, I'm just here, I'm just gonna do the baseline shit, right? It's nothing that makes you want to excel.
Go in there and do the minimum, and
it's nothing that makes you want to excel, and so that's something that if you want to succeed or do something really extra in whatever you're doing, you need to be able to find something to inspire you to do it. Yeah, cool.
I mean, so to throw back to an earlier episode, we were talking about, I think, social cognitive theory of like career choices, like basically what makes you want to go into the career that you ultimately choose, right? And it all, if I remember correctly, it all starts from your interests, right?
100%.
And so and it's like from a super young age. So to explain to you, Brian, basically it all starts in your interests and your kind of opportunity to pursue those interests. That feeds into how you, like, what your worth ethic is like, kind of like how you push yourself towards your goals, and like actually what kinds of goals you like want to attain, and all of that goes into like how, like, basically what career you choose and how that career fits into the types, like the grander goals,
right? Yeah.
So basically how you lead your life all stems from the first couple of years, right? And like how your kind of like baseline interests were formed,
Yeah.
And so I mean, like, there's obvious stuff like, oh, I wanted to tinker, so I became like an inventor and stuff like that, right? Those are like super obvious things, but it could be even something way more subtle, like I have a passion for helping people like become like happy, like, in their lives, and so that could lead to like, oh, I want to be a wealth manager. Right, because it's like I want to make sure that like other people are managing their resources for happiness well.
Or you could say
super
like,
abstractive.
I like making sure that cities don't smell bad, so I became a sanitation engineer or something.
Yeah, that's super specific. But to tie it back, it's I think if you kind of figure out what you're actually interested in, right? And try to pursue a career that aligns with that interests, I think when you go into work, you're more likely to enjoy it, right? And so that like really subtle, like this is why I go into work
Yeah,
kind of like mindset. It's gonna be beyond just a paycheck because like on some level you're going to enjoy it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean that's why, I've talked to a lot of advisors, and I feel like most advisors will tell you like go into something that you're gonna wake up and you're gonna feel happy to go to work. You might not get paid millions of dollars, or you might end up getting lucky and you pick a career that pays well. But ultimately, like, yeah, I mean, you need money obviously to live and whatever. But I think ultimately, like, it shouldn't be the deciding factor. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this even though I absolutely hate it, but I'm gonna make so much money.
Yeah,
I've heard something interesting that kind of contrasts with that idea. I don't know who I got this from, but it was this idea that yeah, it's nice if you do enjoy your job, but it's not necessarily healthy for you to enjoy it 100%. As in, like, at the end of the day, it's still work that has to be done, and there's going to be certain aspects that you don't like. So it's kind of weird if you do like completely enjoy your job, because at the end of the day, what you really should enjoy most is like your family.
Oh no, yeah, and I don't think anyone ever is going to ever enjoy their like work like 100% every single day.
Yeah, like compared to other things.
Yeah, you'll still be like happy to.
It's better. It's better to make your job something that's on the joyful side of the spectrum than something on the spectrum where you hate it.
It's like you shouldn't dread every single day that you have to work. You should at least be like, hey, I kind of maybe not enjoyed today like working, but at least I didn't want to like quit on the spot. It'll make it easy. I
just found that interesting because you always hear people saying like, follow your passion, follow something that makes you happy. It's like, but at the same time, realize that if you're only enjoying your job and that's your whole life, that is potentially a red flag.
I think at that point, it's just like more of an ambition. You meet people like that. They're just never happy no matter what they do.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean,
but that's not healthy.
And that's not healthy. Yeah, of course.
I think, man, I remember our senior year when our advisors or basically everyone was like saying like, oh, like, or trying to tell you like what to major in based off of one phrase that I kept on
based
hearing,
off the color of your shirt.
Oh yeah, definitely. One phrase that I kept on hearing was major in something that'll make you money and minor in something that'll make you happy.
That's weird. I never heard that.
I never heard that.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that.
They were just telling that to you.
It may have just been like our circle like of like people like in my class, but it was such an odd concept. It kind of like in a practical level, it's like, well, like, oh, I enjoy baseball. I'm gonna like how does that work?
How do I major in baseball?
How do I minor in baseball?
Oh.
And then when you like majoring in something, like majoring in something that'll make you money, I think that puts a lot of weight in like, oh, your major will get you a job.
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, like, we know some people where it's like your major isn't necessarily applicable to the career.
Isn't it like 70% of people that graduate do not use their degree towards their specific job, like degree specific jobs? So I
see that. I mean, like
a good percentage.
I don't know the percentage, but I feel like that's
pretty
true.
I thought it was pretty high last time. That was a while ago.
Obviously, it's gonna depend on like what field.
Yeah.
Because like, let's say that you major in let's say marketing, right?
Yeah.
But then you go into
shoemaking.
like finance. What? Well, you go into finance. It's like, well, like there's some crossover. Yeah. I'm not super sure, but it's like whatever it says on your diploma may not be directly applicable, but you can
jump over.
So like,
just kind of like for me, I have a professor that insists on me majoring in accounting, just because like when you major in accounting, then you can jump off to finance or jump off to anywhere else,
But you don't want to.
But I don't want
but
to.
You were like, no.
I would want to like just stick with the finance and just focus on that, just because I know what I want and not just like jump around.
I think a really good example is I know a lot of architects graduate and some of them become set designers. It's an offset, but it's not the specific thing.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's where you're like a lot of your or a decent portion of your statistics.
I shouldn't say a lot. A weird amount.
I mean, like depending on how that question is worded, it might be like, oh, like you majored in architecture. Did you work for an architecture firm? Yes or no? It might be something like that. It's like, well, like you learned architecture and you applied those architecture principles in set design, which means that you're using your degree.
Or like they become furniture designers or construction,
Yeah.
Like construction's a little more similar, honestly, but like furniture's a little different. But they're all design is the catch.
It's like
I don't think everyone's gonna
design.
like get their major and be like exactly what the major says. You know?
Probably.
There's gonna be those like
And I feel like
little differences, like you said, the furniture designer or
college is just like it's a weird thing because like you're forced at a young age to just kind of think about what you think you want, and then obviously you graduate and hopefully it is what you want. But for most people, it's like, no, I realized during these how many years that I actually prefer this, and then you start doing something else completely. Like you could get a degree to become a lawyer, and well, hopefully you do become a lawyer. That's kind of expensive, but then you realize that you like knitting.
Yeah, well, you know, we're only 21 years old, and as the years of college keep going, you're getting your major and stuff like that, but then you're also growing, so then your interests change, your emotions change towards things, and you know, you end up loving something else. It's not,
and I don't know if that's a bad thing, really.
I don't think it is, because I think you're just developing as a person, you know.
I mean, like, think about basically like the college that you chose. It's obviously based off of you know, like what you think your major is going to be in. You're like, oh, is their program good and stuff like that. Well, when did you like think about your colleges? It was like around junior year, so like you're around 17-ish.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
At age 17, like that, basically your interests at that time could basically determine what you do for the next 3 years as your job, which is kind of ridiculous when you think about it objectively.
Yeah.
Like I was lucky. I was like, I kind of knew what I was gonna do, right? And it just so happens that like my path in like academically kind of just like
was so similar.
Yeah, it's like, well, before I wanted to go into like engineering prosthetics, right? Just because it's basically it's biomechanics. It's like such an interesting thing to do. Yeah. But now I'm just doing, or I'm going into controls engineering. So it's like, well, that's like not really the same thing, but it just so happens to align better with my interests, and it didn't change my academic outlook that much. But so sometimes, to get back to your point, sometimes like realizing your interests means that you realize that you went the wrong way, but sometimes it just means that you went a slightly different.
Yeah, right. And even then, like if you found out something that you prefer doing and your degree is totally different, maybe the chain of events, first applying for that major actually helped you in that realization. If you hadn't become, a major in architecture, you wouldn't have figured out that you really like furniture, right? Stuff like that. Yeah. So it's not necessarily a complete waste.
Yeah, like if you're thinking like, oh, I totally wasted my time like in this major, I should have just chosen this from the onset. It's like, no, you learn some valuable things about yourself in realizing that the major that you're currently in isn't exactly what you wanted, right? Yeah. And at the end of the day, you learn some stuff, like, period, you know? Yeah. And that just kind of broadens your outlook.
Not only that, but you should take the time, like, if you don't know what you want to do, you should take the time to, like, think about, who you are as a person and what you want to do. Because, like, for me, it took me a long time to actually decide that, like, okay, I'm going to go into finance, and, like, that's what I actually want. But it took me a long time. I was, like, all over the place for a while, and, like, I did not know. So, I'm very lucky that I went to community college. It saved me some money because I did not know. I'm not trying to go to a $30,000 school just to not know and take a bunch of classes and then have to retake classes. So, I feel lucky in that way that I saved money. I took the time to figure it out, and like I said, now I'm moving on. So, it's never too late to just kind of like think and
evaluate. Take a breather.
Yeah, just take a breather. Just take a step back, You have time. We're young, and
we are young.
We are young. Yeah. Some days I don't feel like that, but it's fine.
But let's take a quick break here to our favorite segment of the day, which is recognizing our sponsors for today. Our sponsors are
road work ahead. Yeah, I sure hope it does.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate you.
Oh man, that's gonna be a nasty cut right there.
Right.
Okay, let's do it.
Right. Those sponsors are with us this week. Maybe they'll be with us next week.
Maybe.
The probability right now is like 1-0.
It's almost as if we have a different sponsor every single episode.
Is 0-0 a probable thing?
What? No,
No,
it's,
that's just 0,
no,
right?
you
That's just-
can't. That's no. You
Is it just like 0 over 0? It's not possible.
anything over? Okay, you can't reconcile anything with like over 0.
So we have a 0 to 0 chance.
No,
that
means
that
it's-
those sponsor, yeah,
no, you
right.
can't define it.
Exactly.
If you said 1 over 0,
1 over 0.
yeah, that'd be better, ish.
We'll stick to 0 over 0, and we'll figure it out together.
Well, leave a comment down below if you can figure out the math.
Yeah, we'll figure it out for you. Just wait. Wait until next week.
That's a long time to solve a problem.
A week?
No, it's a long time to solve a problem that I could literally explain to you right now.
Explain it, Paul.
Okay.
Math with Paul, everybody. Let's go.
Man, this is the part of the podcast that everyone skips. I mean, so the reason why you can't do anything over 0 is because, let's say that you try to divide something by like point.
Can you show us?
It's undefined.
What?
Can you show us?
Oh man, on this?
Yes.
I need to like write it down first to like sketch it out.
Oh,
But I mean, like I could
just freelance it. Just freelance it, yeah.
All right. I hope this is in frame. But basically, let's say that this is your number line, right? Yeah. So this is like that, right? Okay. So this is just gonna be these are real axes, right? And so let's just do x, y, or f of x equals y. F of x is equal to yeah, let's just do
like
x over 0 if I'm thinking of this right? Actually no. Yeah. Let's just do equals a over x. So man. And so basically from this side, if you like as x gets smaller, the function grows to infinity. But from that side. But if you do it from this side, the function goes to negative infinity. And so that's actually the reason why you can't just say like, oh, anything divided by 0 is going to be this arbitrary thing, like pi or I, the square root of -1.
Wow.
And so that's why you can't have a probability of something over 0, because depending on which direction you do it from, it's going to be either positive infinity or negative infinity.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out that we did work on the set finally.
Oh yeah.
Did you not notice? There's black everywhere.
Yeah.
And we have an extra light, and we actually got real gels for the lights, for the light colors. So that's
Yeah, because I know. Because last time I was here, you guys just had like a piece of paper,
Yeah.
like two,
So,
like a red one and a blue one.
They were
on
like gift wrapping paper.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's definitely check out the vlog. I don't know what episode it's gonna be. Check out Omar's vlog for
Check out the vlog.
behind the scenes on set.
Yeah.
I would say you got a little bit better then.
Right.
with
A little more professional,
a
and
little
the
more
curtains
professional.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's working. I was looking at the cameras if it was there. It's working.
Yeah.
We will eventually
We
get
just
two
need a
cameras.
bigger office. So if we can get our sponsors on that,
Yeah, that'd be
would
great.
yeah.
Sponsors. I mean, you do so much already. It's just this one more thing.
Just give us a studio.
Paul, I'm gonna throw Paul on the spot here. Paul, do you have any questions for us today?
God, man. So usually, I mean, okay, so how we used to do it, I would have my questions on my phone, but the phones mess up the microphones now. Now my phone's over there. I mean, like, the questions that we had a bonfire recently. The questions we had at the bonfire, those got super deep. But I feel like not everyone answered those questions.
Well, I mean, I think Brian answered them thoroughly. I think you almost answered them thoroughly.
So
do you have a question that you could come up with?
I'll do something that's not not as.
If you were a different, if you could choose your color of fire, which fire color would you be?
Wait, color of blue. It's the hottest form.
Yeah.
Actually,
I would do blue.
I'd choose. Okay, so like
I would do blue with like a little like orange in the middle.
certain alcohols burn clear. I'll do that.
White?
Wow.
Or no, not clear. Yeah, it's invisible. So like that would just be.
That's so lame, bro.
It'd be maddening.
Actually,
so, like,
yeah.
if you were a firebender, like doing that, like just do something like that, and then like someone like a couple feet away is like, "What's happening?" Oh no, I'm on fire! But like, no one sees
Black fire would be cool.
That'd be
too,
cool. Black fire.
fire, yeah.
I think white fire is the coolest.
Yeah.
I think white fire. I would say blue, but I mean blue's already.
I want to say black fire just because in my head, if I had like could bend and
That's
like
some,
fire stuff like
black
that.
magic
And
shit right there.
and then like for me, if I could bend black fire, I would make sure that in the rules it says you can't like extinguish it. Like only the person that like releases it can extinguish it.
Wow, we're really getting into this.
Oh wait, have you guys taken that? Like what type of bender would you be from like Avatar: Last Airbender? Oh, okay, so I can't answer that.
I would be all of them. I would be
All of them.
All
I
of
think
them?
it's all the benders.
Either
Why
all of
wouldn't
them,
you want to be?
either
Like-
all of them, or like I really think I'd be like Earth.
So like, let's say that like you like about a quarter of the population did have like those like element bending abilities. Like, which one do you think would be the best one to have?
Well, dude, everything was great until the Fire Nation attacked, so...
And you know what?
Wait, so would you be a firebender?
I mean, yeah, but I would use my powers for good.
How so?
I would not let the fire, the evils of fire engulf my soul. Instead, what I would do is redirect that anger and pour it into a love cup.
Love cup. That sounds not pleasant.
That does sound pleasant.
Check out our merch store for love cups.
Love cups, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think water is like the better of like the four. You know.
Yes,
Water's the
actually,
most
water.
living things.
You know.
If you bend water, you can bend water in people.
Yeah, the blood in
True.
people.
You would kill people
There's
instantly.
water in the air.
Yeah.
There's H2O. So you're like,
Ooh.
it's basically
Oh, but fire's kind of similar too.
I mean, okay, how are we defining?
But the
fire,
thing is-
though?
Energy.
Yeah, so 'cause I was gonna say, like, if you're a firebender, you're basically like a human heat pump, and you can just manipulate the flow of energy.
Yeah.
You see what my problem is with the firebender is that I don't think you'd be as strong during nighttime when the sun's not out. Like even though like the sun is around, I just don't think you'd be as strong.
What
So
is
you-
the sun?
so
Or
you're assuming-
kind of like in the show where there's like the eclipse and the sun is covered, they can't use it.
That sounds like
okay.
some
If we're doing
metaphysical
like that,
bullshit.
You know, if, like I'm.
Is that canon where like the firebender's like power is like related to the sun?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Well,
And
I
then
mean,
that's a
like
game changer,
and then
wait.
during the solar eclipse when the sun's like at its strongest, then their bending is actually even stronger. So it's like the opposite effect
for water or fire?
for fire.
So lunar eclipses.
Lunar eclipses,
water
water
bending.
bending,
Yeah.
and then solar eclipses would be.
Guys, you guys
bending.
really
Wait,
watch
lunar-
that show.
lunar-
I watched that show.
Wait, lunar eclipses happen more often than solar eclipses.
Mm-hmm.
So from a statistical standpoint, you're gonna be better as a water bender.
Yeah, but if you were evil, all you need is one solar eclipse, and that world is done.
I feel like if you wanted to be evil, and you got to choose.
That's
you'd,
true.
You'd want to be an airbender because if you think about it, air is everywhere. You could just choke someone.
Dude, the Earth is everywhere.
True, but like
We're on Earth.
Yeah. We're on Earth. What if you just bent the Earth into a donut and put you in the middle?
Yeah, but
The amount of gravitational pull.
Do you guys? But see, that would take a lot of like chakra. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think you could do it.
That would take a lot of chakra.
I don't think you could do it.
Can we lay it out on here?
yeah, all right. The ratio of chakra
No,
to like
no.
mass of Earth you can move.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a
you
good
could- you
question.
could sort of do it, like the actual.
We're not getting into unreal things.
I don't concern myself with hypothetical situations that can't be.
Oh my god. Well, Dickie, what up?
Yeah.
You're
that's
watching this,
reference.
obviously.
Yeah.
Any
That-
other questions, Paul? Or go ahead.
I was just gonna say the Pillow Talk music video. There
Such
it
a
is
great-
something new. Whenever
Skip
you
the
watch it.
first minute and then it's really good.
Yeah, when Brain comes in, that's basically it.
Oh,
Oh man.
Do you have any other questions, Paul?
I mean, I was gonna ask like, what your deepest, or what's like,
What's your deepest fear?
yeah, what's your deepest fear? But I don't know how long this has been going on.
Let's take a quick break.
Yeah, jeez.
You know the password.
Yeah.
Should just have a timer.
Yeah.
Oh, see.
Capital B.
Oh, my bad.
You use the right shift?
Yeah, dude.
Interesting.
So we're on 42.
Okay, one more question. We should be good.
All right.
Not
hold
too
on.
bad, huh?
Give me a second to. All right, do it.
You ready? And we're back.
All right. Wanna just? I can ask you that question. What's your biggest fear? like almost on like phobia level, or what's
Phobia?
like a
Okay,
really weird fear?
Should we do like a weird phobia kind of thing?
Yeah.
Maybe that's better. Maybe it's
Like,
a little more, lightning.
I can start.
It's just fears.
Go ahead. I mean, if you already know, I have to think about it. So.
Oh, okay. So this fear that I have, it's basically, I mean, like most people have fears of like falling
If my
and stuff
watch
like that.
ever controls my mind.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, man.
That'd
Okay.
be weird.
Actually, yeah. Basically, if you could like kind of condense or summarize what my fear is, it's the fear that
I have a really good one actually.
ooh.
Do you want me to go first? Are you having trouble?
Mine was just like basically like becoming paralyzed, you know.
I mean that I think that's that's not an irrational fear.
Or not
but
irrational.
how is it irrational? How would you say it's
'cause,
irrational?
like, I think no. Actually, it's better if I say like I have an irrational fear of like
Suddenly losing your legs, just
No,
like
like-
normally, like you walk
like,
and then they
you
don't
know,
work.
anytime I do like a sort of like extreme activity, like basically I'll slip and just like that's just the randomest fall that like breaks my entire
Oh,
body.
I see what you said.
You know,
Okay.
like you see those like skateboarding videos where like people just become paralyzed just because they fell
I
off.
have not seen those videos.
Yeah, it's like if you
Neither
like
have
fall
I.
on a bench like wrong, and then that just cracks your spine, and now you can't.
All I've seen are the nuts getting hurt on whenever
those are
you're
different
grinding on a
videos.
rail and then your
Yeah.
board breaks.
Yeah.
That's my fear now. my fear is a little more irrational.
Okay.
I've had plenty of dreams where this happens. I have an irrational fear of going under a bridge and having it suddenly fall on me.
Oh, so you don't trust?
So
infrastructure.
here's a great dream that I had that like illustrates this perfectly. For some reason, I was in San Francisco. I've been to San Francisco before. The Golden Gate Bridge, incredible bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing soccer just off the side on like a beach that supposedly runs under it. I don't think that actually happens. I don't think that's a geological mark. And the ball got kicked in under the Golden Gate Bridge. For some reason, the Golden Gate Bridge is like 10 feet. The gap is 10 feet from the floor to the ground to the Golden Gate Bridge, right?
Okay.
And I go under there to get it, right? And it's suddenly getting lower and lower, right? And I'm just trying to grab the soccer ball, right? And then I finally get it, but the bridge finally like hits me, and the feeling of getting crushed, like this, like inability.
up.
Have you ever been like just stuck in something and you can't like you start to freak out, so you breathe heavier?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Dude.
I used to like climb in, like between like in trees and stuff like that. It's like when you get stuck, it's like, oh shit, I fucked up.
Oh no, not even that. I mean, what's a good example? Like
just
whenever
must have
did you ever like crawl under your bed if you had like a little gap
Yeah.
and you at some age you got a little too big and you kind of got stuck,
Yeah.
and so you're like,
So you start to panic even more.
yeah, and so you breathe deeper, right? Like that feeling is what I fear, and that is why it's probably tied to the bridge falling. Is because every time I've ever felt like the suffocation, it's been because a bridge has fallen on me.
That's such a That's
an
way
irrational
to-
one.
You're afraid of bridges falling.
Yeah,
I mean, okay, if you look at like America's infrastructure and like its upkeep over the past like couple decades, that's not that irrational fear anymore.
I don't go under bridges. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Going on top of bridges is fine.
I also don't really like the idea of camping, like straight up camping, because
Yeah.
I have a weird fear that I'm gonna get attacked by a bear.
I don't have a fear of
In some
getting attacked
places,
by a bear.
That's not irrational. It's just that literally is one of the reasons why I don't camp. Is because I just don't want to fuck with bears.
I live for the thrill. Like being
You
out
ever
in-
see?
Dude.
You've seen the cyclist video
Oh
of
yeah.
he's just casually biking in a forest, and then the
fucking
camera
bear.
turns, and turns again, and there's a bear. And he's like, "What?" And then he just starts going.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the reason why I camp. Just like putting yourself at a manageable amount of discomfort, and part of that discomfort is like the danger of basically like, oh, I could die out here. That's totally fine.
Do you carry anything to kill a bear just in case? You don't carry a gun on
Oh
you.
no, like if the places that I camp, they don't really have bears in it anyway.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
It's more likely
I
to
don't think
be
you should,
like
he should
snakes.
not answer that question.
It's more likely to be like snakes.
Well, like
falling off or something.
maybe he knows how to use the chi to kill bears.
Well, at least he's always carrying
yeah.
a pocket knife. So.
Yeah. Like I learned ninjutsu from YouTube, so like I could totally like
I
Do you
think-
know how to turn into a Super Saiyan?
I think honestly,
Yeah, I'm level 3.
I could fuck up a bear. Like if I'm being
Get out of here.
if I'm
dude.
being honest, like
take out your shank.
you
Like,
know, yeah. I've been practicing a lot of like my
Bear
chakra.
jitsu.
Yeah, a lot of my bear jitsu and like I'm just storing it. Like I feel like starting to build up, so I'm gonna have to go.
And one day you're just gonna release in one big Hadouken.
what happens if so like you're gonna release it like on all your stored up energy on that bear that you encounter?
Yeah,
dude. What if
What
you
happens
die?
if there's 2 bears?
See,
Yeah,
the thing
dude.
is,
What if Mama Bear and Papa Bear come after you? dog?
I've mastered my elements of like lightning, you know,
Oh,
and I
shit.
can shoot lightning from both hands at this point. So
Ah.
you know that's
Don't
what I'm
get too
planning.
close
They
to
made a
Right,
video
that's
game about you then.
Yeah.
What's that
Yeah.
video game? What's that video game? I'm forgetting.
Infamous?
Infamous. Dude, have you played that? Is that about you?
That's
Are we
about-
talking to Mr. Infamous?
I get all my training from Naruto, so
I don't know how to respond to that. Oh man.
You've never played the game, have you?
no.
The game.
What game? What do you?
Infamous.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Naruto.
No.
All right, looks like
Yeah,
we gotta
we
end the
know.
podcast
Yeah.
here. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming with us this far into our journey. If you did stay this long, look, as we always say, if you just want to hit that like button, right, and right next to that like button, if you just want to hit that subscribe button too, that'd be really great. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much. This is episode number 20. Thanks to Brian for joining us today.
That's the big 20
Big 20.
milestone.
Big 20.
Oh,
Hey,
that means next episode
it's going to be
we
21.
can take the podcast out to drink.
You're right.
Next one. Yep, we're gonna be at the bars.
Next one, we're going to be at the bars, guys.
Oh, that'd be cool.
We'll figure it
That'd
out.
be cool if we could
We'll
set
figure it
up
out, yeah.
like
We have lavaliers. We could.
like on a Monday and just set it up, like just kind of.
On a Monday. Oh shit!
On a
All right,
Monday
here we
again?
go.
Oh,
Well,
my
I'm saying because
God.
do you really want to go in there on a Saturday night? And
Oh, yes.
with
that's
a bunch
true.
of people.
Yeah. All right.
Right.
But that's for the next one. We'll see you guys next time.
Have a great day, everyone.